right, Ethan.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man?
What's good, boss?
Man, appreciate you, man, for being the first person on Deep in the Racing podcast, man. Well, segment. But tell me, man, you been in Texas your whole life? Been living in Texas?
Born and raised, Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff, Texas, for most people, 37 years old, so I've pretty much been here all my life,
Okay. So how was it living in Texas when you was younger?
I mean, I love it. I ain't never had a problem with Texas, I always loved it here.
Okay. Was crime always bad in Oak Cliff? Or was it always bad?
Some of that stuff is just what people put it out to be, man. Like, you got some areas that, like, bad, and then right a street over, you know what I'm saying, old grandmas, nice grandmas, everything. So, it's just, it's pretty much how the world is. You got some bad areas, you got some good areas, but I mean, for the most part, it's great. It's not as bad as what people make it out to be.
Right. Makes sense, man. You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, so I'm the only child from my mother and my father. But later, I say I was probably about 18, I found out that I have actually 2 sisters on my dad's side. So we actually got acquainted, and so technically I'm the only child, but I do have 2 sisters on my dad's side.
So how was that getting acquainted with you?
It was crazy.
After 18 years.
My granny, Lord rest her soul, man. I've been her only child, so when my sister reached out, called the house and was like, I wanted to talk to Ethan and tried to introduce herself.
Yeah.
At first, my granny was like, he ain't got no damn sisters. And, you know how that is, But long story short, man, we got together and I actually met one of them at my father's funeral. But, I mean, everything happened for a reason. Everything happened how it happened. So it was pretty cool to know I do have some siblings, because I always wondered that, like being the only child, and my father and mama wasn't married, so I always kind of wondered, like, dang, I got some siblings out there. So I found out when I was 18, I found out. So they reached out to me and I reached out to them, and I mean, it ain't no beef because we didn't know about it, So hey, we all good now, My oldest sister lives here in Dallas, and then the one that's a little bit younger than her, she lives in Houston, Texas.
Okay, so you said your parents weren't together, so
yeah,
they weren't together. So who did you stay with when you?
So I was raised by my grandmother. I mean, my mother and father both lived in Dallas, but I was raised by my grandmother.
Okay, man. Did you and your mom have a good relationship? You and your dad?
Yeah. Like me and my mom, we had a good relationship. When I was 13, my mom had a hospital incident where she basically ended up having an ulcer in her stomach, and then it kind of led to some other things, and she pretty much stayed in a coma state for like 3 years, and so my grandmother basically took care of her and raised me at the same time. So in my life, that was a turning point. Like, most people have role models, that sports people and musicians and whatever the case may be. In my case, at that point, it turned to my grandmother. My grandmother, my role model.
Yeah. So how did that injury affect? Did it affect you?
I mean, honestly, I was already raised by my grandmother. So if anything, it just taught me about life. Like, being 13, having to, be at the hospital all the time, dealing with medical stuff, seeing my grandmother take care of it. It taught me a lot of stuff about life. I mean, it kind of make you grow up quick and make you get responsible faster, but it pretty much taught me about life and how to enjoy people, while they're in their best state, and just respect one another, man, because within the blink of an eye, anything can happen.
Right. And what about your relationship with your dad, man?
So me personally, our relationship was okay, but due to my grandmother being my mother's mom and them not being together, it kind of was a little rocky on their end. But man, it was crazy because I never forget, I had talked with my grandmother. And of course, I was 18 at this point, but me and her had a stern talk about that, and she pretty much seen my point of view and where I was coming from. know, she pretty much told me don't ever talk to her like that again. Which I didn't cuss or be disrespectful, but just what we were talking about. But long story short, you know, Dad came over to the house and, you know, we all kind of made up and it was pretty much up from there.
Okay. So what's one thing that your grandma told you that you'll never forget?
Man.
But I know it's probably,
so,
yeah, I was about to say,
so
you can name me about 1 or 3 things.
Right.
I know. So
it's so many things, but man, like my granny, she was a real stern person, but she led by example. So it's a lot of stuff she necessarily didn't say do this or do that, but I could just see with her walk of life, like, you know, how to carry myself, how to be, you know, real with people, not fake. Right. Don't do all that faking and shaking, just be real, you know. And so I could pretty much say just watching her, you know, these 37, well, actually 33, she died, you know, back in 2019. So watching her these 33 years of my life, like, it just, man, it was a good experience. Like, I can't say nothing bad about her. I can't say nothing, you know. I feel like when people see me, they see her, you know. She raised the real, she bred the real, you know.
Right. So, back to your dad. You said your dad passed when you was how old?
So my dad, he passed away in, I want to say 2013. So it was actually 6 months after my daughter was born. So it was a blessing because, I mean, he got to hold his grandbaby, you know, from me, you know what I'm saying? But he passed shortly after that, you know.
Did that affect you any type of way?
I mean, it did. One thing about it, like, I'll be honest, dealing with my mom at such a young age, and a lot of my family are older people. So it's hard to say. I know people, you never get used to death, but some people deal with it differently than others, and some people deal with it more. So in my case, it was like, it affected me. You know, of course you're gonna miss your dad, but at the same time, it's life. You know, there's a part of life that we all go through, and that's one thing my granny, you know, talked to me about at a young age, and you know, whatnot, that at some point we all gotta go. You know, so the main thing of that is just make sure you ready. You know, you got your things in order with God, and you know your finances and insurance, and make sure you ready. You know, when it is your time, it's no problem. You know. So my mom had one brother, which was my Uncle Jason, that pretty much lived with me all my life. You know, he had got murdered about going on 2 years ago now, man. Pretty much senseless. You know, they say he got robbed. No kind of, you know, don't know why. Like, everybody know my uncle, man. They know, you know, Jay wouldn't harm a soul. Like, he stayed to himself, man. But, you know, sometimes you be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, we still actually, you know, trying to figure out who did it. You know, I actually talked to the detective the other day. We still don't have no leads. But, you know, my uncle, he was a good dude, man. Lord rest his soul. Real quiet, meek, humble, real good dude, man. And that's pretty much it, because my family sitting was small. Like, my grandmother, she had my mama and my uncle, and that was it. Then it was just me, you know.
Okay, so you had a small family.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's why I say we close knitted, like small, you know. And it's one of them things, when you that close to somebody, it affects you. But, you know, going back to my granny days, like, when my mom passed away, I was 16, you know, and I mean, I pretty much watched my granny set up the funeral arrangements, set up the insurance. I was there with every step, so it was like, you know, when my mom died, I kind of learned. When my granny died, I pretty much just, you know, did the same thing she did. And then when my uncle died, it's kind of like, hey, you know the drill, you know. I pretty much did the same thing, you know. So as far as just missing a companion, missing like somebody I won't say companion, I say somebody you close to, you know, it hurt a little bit. You know, my daughter, it affected them a lot, because that was their favorite uncle. You know, he'd go up and over and beyond for them, but you know, it's just one of them things, man.
I'm sorry for the loss, man. You were saying how you went through like a little depression stage with your uncle.
Yeah, like it's crazy because, you know, you will see people talk about depression, like, and then you look inside and you say, man, that ain't you. But then sometimes you don't realize you going through it till after you done passed it. And I think that was my case, like, and it's weird how it hit you. Like, I ain't walk around feeling sad, feeling helpless, you know, some of the symptoms that people claim. I just felt like, man, I was always, you know, didn't feel like doing nothing, lazy. Like, I mean, it hit me completely different. Like, you know, I see stuff that bother me on social media. I don't even know these people, and I get in a sunk because I'm like, dang, man, why people gotta be like this? Why people like that? And certain stuff never even affected me. Right. So finally, it's just like, you know, at the end of this year, I told myself, man, whatever kind of little funk or slump I'm in, I need to shake up out of it. Like, you know, because it's just like I stayed to myself. And I mean, you know, everybody fight it different. Like, some people, they turn to alcohol, or some people might, you know, turn to drugs. But like with me, I just battled it out and just told myself, man, enough is enough. Like, you know, I need to snap out of it. And it just felt like, you know, between praying and asking God what's going on, it's like I just shook it, you know. So I felt a whole lot better, man, and felt better about myself. Started back doing things that I ain't, you know, done in a while. And then a lot of it, I mean, people talk about it differently, but I think COVID had a lot to do with it. Like, you know, because you so used to being outgoing and going and different stuff, and then now all of a sudden you just confined to one space with the same, you know, people every day, all day. Like, you know, just like for me, for example, I started working from home because, you know, my job, they did otherwise, you know, so we work from home indefinitely. I think that plays a part, you know, on your social well-being, not being able to go in the office, see different people and interact with different people, everything on the phone, everything through email. So, you know, it affects people differently, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, I shook up out of it now and then, you know, like I say, everything opening up, so everything, you know, trying to get back on track, get back to normal, you know.
So did COVID affect you any other type of way?
I mean, other than the social dealings and, you know, worried about if everybody hand you shaking, you go start coughing and sneezing, or you know, forgetting to have your mask, going in these businesses. I mean, honestly, not really.
Not really. Okay. You know,
not really. I mean, you know, thank God I didn't get laid off or anything or nothing like that. So I mean, I think other than socially, I don't think it affect me any.
Right. And, you said you had a daughter, right?
Yes, sir. I actually got two. So my youngest, she was born, you know, during COVID. She COVID baby. She was born 21. So she's 17 months. Yeah. My oldest daughter, she 9.
She 9. Okay, so you got a wife as well?
Yes, sir. Right. Yeah, so my high school sweetheart, we've been married since 2008.
Yeah. Y'all known each other for how long?
Yeah, so I actually met her in middle school. She almost got away from it, but it was crazy because you know,
gotta give me the story.
That's true puppy love there. So, you know, and I know she go kill me for this, but so we had dated in a little summer camp, and then we you know, got home, you know, the little puppy love deal, talk on the phone, all this and all that. And then, you know, we went our separate ways in high school. Well, the truth be told, man, I really believe, like, when they say love at first sight, like, I was in love with my wife, like, young, man. And I remember people telling me, oh, you too young, get married at 22 and all that. But, I mean, this girl had my heart. So, you know, we ended up talking back in high school. It was her senior year, my junior year, because she 1 year older than me.
Right.
And we pretty much got back together. And then she went off to college. So pretty much broke up again. And then when she come back, kind of got back together. That was it. It was up ever since then. So, you know. But going back to that, like when we took that little break from middle school, I used to see her mom. Because my wife played basketball. And I see her mom come to the game, and I kept telling her mom, I said, man, I'm going to get your daughter back. And at the time, you know, my wife, you know, she wasn't trying to hear it, but I kept telling her mama, like, I'm gonna get your daughter back. And I mean, it's crazy how it worked out, but I got her daughter back, you know. And now to this day, I still mess with her about it, you know.
Yeah.
But it was something about my wife, man. I had to have her, you know.
So I know, how did she play a big effect in your life?
Man,
how did she play a role in your life?
A lot of people know me, but they really don't know me. Like, some people, they carry their confidence different.
Right.
Like, I can say, in my case, my wife, like, she my motivator. Like, can't nobody push me like her. Like, I mean, I got partners that'll, you know, get on my ass about stuff like, man, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's something about my wife. Like, when she get on to me, it's like it light a fire under my ass, man. So I can honestly say, like, my wife, she my true motivator, and she go push me.
Yeah. I think it's just like that feminine energy too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think every man needs that too in their life. Feminine energy from their significant other. So man.
And then say my wife, she competitive. Like, when we were younger, we used to like loving basketball. Like that was us for real. I mean, we both sustained. Like, I actually had my knee injury in high school, so I kind of knew I wasn't gonna make it in college ball. You know, pretty much with the injuries. But my wife, she actually played college ball, and she got hurt in college. So I kind of used to feel like, man, I might have jinxed her, because she ended up with knee problems too. You know, so. But like, even after that, man, in our younger days, we go to, like, our dates was playing basketball.
Oh,
like we go hoop, play basketball, like you know, all that. You know?
So let's go back to the high school days, man. So you played ball in high school?
Yeah, man, I did a little hooping, man. But you know, I was always on the chubby side, so I was a little slow, you know. But I had handles and I could shoot.
Yeah.
But my partner used to always tease me because I get tired fast. You know, I ain't had no wind, so it's crazy. Cause like, I'll be good once I get tired, man. That's it. I start turning the ball over, making crazy decisions. Like, so you know, I mean, it was fun. Like, say, you know, they leave me open, I'm gonna hit it. You know.
You busting it.
But once I get tired, that's it, bro. Like, you might well hang it up.
So that was the only sports you played in?
No, I played football for.
What position you play in?
So in football, I played football. So I didn't play my freshman year football. I actually walked on my sophomore year, and I played tight end because I could catch real good. But then, of course, I was big enough to be on the line and block a little bit. And then defense, I played like middle linebacker or whatever. And basketball, I had played point guard because I was short then. I'm only 5'7", so you know, that's about right for me. And that's why I played pretty much in basketball.
Okay. Alright, so since we still on the high school topic, you still talk to your high school homies? Or
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them, I still keep in touch with them and talk to them. You know, I mean, I try to keep up with everybody. You know, some people, they moved away, moved on, but for the most part, I pretty much, you know, talk to everybody. You know.
Alright. So I feel like we touched on your childhood, we touched on your high school. So let's get like deeper. So how did you get involved with racing? Like, how did racing come about?
So I had several partners that used to always go to the track.
Okay.
And then I remember I used to be intimidated, man, because I would feel like I ain't know nobody, I didn't fit in. And it was like, dang, you know, I was nervous, you know. So finally, one partner like, man, come to the track with me. And man, I started going with him. And that's my right-hand man, you know, Albert. He, you know, be with me working on my car, man. And I went with him once, and it just kind of stuck from there, you know.
Okay. And
yeah, my friend Albert and my other partner Ron.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron Stewart. Yeah, he used to race. A lot of people know him. He used to race. He had a go-kart that he had a motorcycle motor put on him back in the day. And this was, man, I say, but we were still in high school, so I graduated in 04. This had to be about 2002-ish. I mean, he been doing it for a long time, but when I started coming around about 2002, 2003 on up, and he was racing that golf cart. I mean, he was racing that go-kart, kicking everybody butt, man. He was, like, if you say something about that go-kart at Yellow Belly, they'll know about it.
They'll know it. So it got It's historical, huh?
Oh yeah. There's
okay.
nobody, and I'm sure they got some clips floating around of it. Then he ended up getting him a truck. They called Big Bertha. It was a C10. Then he actually finna start back. He finna come back out, start racing again. He got a love truck. So between him and Albert, and then that's how I met my other best friend, Fat Boy. That's pretty much where my racing started.
Okay, so who was your first car you ever had, man?
So my first car I had, it wasn't a race car, but it was a Nissan Altima.
Okay.
It was a silver 2002 silver Nissan Altima.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you the city gonna remember that one because I had the wheels called Omega Devons on them. And what they used to do, it looked like a wafer. Like the whole wheel is a big old plate and they got zigzags in it. So when you're going down the road, the wheel does this. Like, trust me, when I say that the car with the silver Nissan with the wheel, a lot of people gonna know like, damn, I remember that car. But that car was pretty much my start in the automotive, you know what I'm saying, in the custom car. Not necessarily racing because, of course, it's 4-cylinder. That car ain't fast. But as far as customizing cars and all that, that was the start of it right there. Okay. My first car.
Yeah, because you do, we're gonna talk about that later, but you do like the big rims and the rim racing and all of that.
Yeah, a little bit of all that.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that later. Okay, so your first official race car.
So my first official race car, which is the same car I got now, my Cutlass, 1984 Cutlass Supreme Broham. Same car I got now, same car I've been having forever. I bought it in 2005. That was my first car that I actually purchased myself. And I mean, that's my baby. Everybody know that car. They gonna know it, Everybody know that car. They gonna know it's been around for a long time. Like some people joke because when I bought that car, that was the era of the theme car. So it's I had the Pac-Man stuff painted on it. And, we consider it the Pac-Man Cutlass, but after a while of sitting up and being up, I come up with the name of Cutman, which is basically half Cutlass and the rest man. So that's why I call it Cutman now.
And that's the big rim. And what
so
rims you got on there?
don't get it twisted. It's big rim, on one day, and it drag pack on the next day. So I plan on doing both with it. So they'll see here short. They'll see.
Okay, and when you said you're not out with it now, you're working on it now, right?
Yeah.
So when you
work on bringing it back out, like I used to race it. I got a few little clips at Yellow Belly back in. I think the last time I raced it, matter of fact, you got it on video. Was around Thanksgiving of last year, and I switched some stuff up on it. But before then, my last pass in that car would have been before my daughter was born, probably 2012. That's how long that car been put up. I still got it. That's my baby. I ain't getting rid of it. So, but yeah.
So I think when I got footage of it, the studs came off or something, didn't it?
No, that wasn't mine. That was the dude I was racing.
Okay.
And me and him got another date too. Okay. I don't like to count technicalities in no win, so me and him got a date. Edwin, you know who you is, fella.
Okay.
Sonny, that weak Regal. Yeah.
Talk your stuff then, man.
Yes,
So I know you mentioned Yellow Belly a lot, so that must have been like the trap. Talk to me about Yellow Belly, man. Everybody talk about it, but like, was that really the trap back then? So
9 times out of 10, you got your start from Yellow Belly. You got your start from Yellow Belly. If you racing DFW, you started out there. Unless now don't get me wrong, some people live closer to Kennedale and live closer to I-30, and live closer to North Star used to be in Denton. And you got Cedar Creek, that's down in the country area. But if you stay in the DFW area, you got your start at Yellow Belly. That track been around since 1955.
Yeah, 50s. Yeah. Okay, man. So back then, what was the main track? North Star, Yellow Belly,
Kennedale,
and Red Line.
Red Line. Then you had another quarter-bound track named Dallas Raceway that was in Cranberry, Texas. right off of 175. It closed down. It actually finally closed the doors, I think, in 2000. I want to say 2012, probably 13. Cause I think Hood to Hood was going. So I think it shut the doors finally as a racetrack in 2013.
2013. Okay. All right. So, what's your favorite type of race? You know, you got big rim, the grudge, the no time, the no prep,
Man,
class.
I mean, honestly, I like it all. I don't have no problem with none of it. I think my favorite is grudge racing, but a lot of it ain't just because of the racing. I like the smack talk.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I really enjoy the smack talk. Like, some people hate it. You know, I mean, now don't get me wrong. I don't like the disrespect on some of it, but as far as just seeing how creative these guys is, and they don't even realize it. Like, I mean, you got dudes create their whole lingo that travel from Dallas to Atlanta, from Atlanta back to Dallas, or I say Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever. I mean, just, and this stuff, this ain't no scripted stuff. This stuff is off the just talking.
Yeah, improv.
I mean, that, like you say, that I really enjoy that, man. And I wish you was here, but Lord rest his soul, we had to do, like, y'all think Nuke, bro? We had a guy named Hardy. Hardy, man. Nuke ain't got nothing on Hardy, man. You know, but Hardy passed away, man. But you talking about some shit talking, like, say, them boys knew Hardy.
So Hardy's so did he drive or he was just?
Man, Hardy did everything.
Yeah.
He drove, and you know how we do down here. Like, we'll have a truck shootout. I never forget, he won a truck shootout. We had like a hard time, just everyday driver truck shootout at Yellow Belly. I never forget it. He won it. He just come from like the wrecking yard or something, buying the rear end from somebody. Yeah. He took off in the line, knocked the whole rear end out the back of the truck. You know, just fell out of the tailgate. So I mean, they did it all, man. Yeah, they did it all.
What's your most historical moment? I actually got that question. Let's lead to it. Tell me like a historical moment in racing that you experienced yourself that you'll never forget.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't say it was historical. It was a life-changing event. I will say that.
Yeah,
but and, you know, shout out to Mandrell and them, shut up and racing. R.I.P. Baby. When we went to Headhunters and we had a wreck, we had an accident, but we had a race, and it was an accident transpired. And my other best friend Berto, a lot of people know Berto. When they wrecked, a car had, you know, turned over, caught on fire, and Berto pretty much saved his life. You know, true enough, he did end up passing away about a month later, but.
From the accident? From the effects of the accident?
Yeah, but Berto pulled him out of the burning car. And like that point on, that was pretty much life changing for me. Like, really for all of us. For all our little crew, everything, man, because we've never experienced nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, back then, and I'm an advocate for it, man. If y'all ain't got no roll cages in them cars, and that car did have a cage, you know, y'all need to put one in there, because our car didn't have a cage, you know what I'm saying? And back then, I remember right before that weekend, we took the car to the motorplex to make a test hit before we went to Georgia. And, you know, they weren't rude about it, but, hey, they was like, hey, man, that car too fast and I have a cage, you know. And so till y'all put a cage in it, y'all can't race, you know. And we respected that. And I told Berto, man, hey, we need to put a cage in this car. We really do. And he was like, yeah, we gonna put one when we got back. We gonna put one when we get back. So we went on down there, we raced, and then that accident transpired. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I don't think I ever been as scared as I was in my life, because when the accident happened, they already had said the car flipped over. And I ain't gonna lie, in my head, I thought it was Berto. And the first thing came to my mind, my partner gone, because I know he didn't have no cage. And that car was down there on fire. And, you know, a little bit shortly after, you know, I seen Berto drive back to return road, and I'm like, damn. So it must have been the other car. But then, you know, I didn't even realize it was bad as it was until, you know, everything transpired and paramedics had, you know, came. And it just happened so fast, man. So that's why I tell people, I mean, I know people go race how they race, man, but like as fast as these cars is now, like y'all need to put some road cages in the car, man, so y'all can go home to y'all family. And I mean, I say that with a serious heart, you know what I'm saying?
I know some people get offensive, like, but the people that's saying that, they only mean it from the heart, you know what I'm saying? They don't mean it like in no harm.
And I mean, and I'm the first to say it, like, my car, my colors, it's a rim car. Like, you know what I'm saying? Rim, and man, they know. I don't exclude nobody, you know what I'm saying? My car might be slow as hell, but I got a road cage in it, because I got to go home to my family, man. I understand, you know, some things can happen, anything can happen, you know, but at the end of the day, when we're racing, at some point, we got to take responsibility in our own hands, too. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you for touching on that, man.
Yeah.
So you saying, you mentioned that grudge racing was like your favorite. You
Right.
the smack talking and racing and everything.
Right.
So you still being young, you still know the history back then, or you still know back then how grudge racing was. What do you think changed from grudge racing back then to now?
I think now,
in your opinion?
in my honest opinion, probably to a certain extent the money. And then when I say that, like, back then it seemed like the cars was more of on the same caliber of cars. You know, you didn't have so many options. Like, you got so many aftermarket parts now than you did back then. Is, you know, I think that changed a lot. You know, and then, I mean, hey, some people got it more than others, you know. So, I mean, hey, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, you know.
Exactly.
But, and then I think back then, it was more of just, I want to race, in the saying, like they say, you know, forget how it turned out, you know. They just wanted to race back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's James Foot saying, I heard a couple people saying, but, and they just want to race. It's like, hey, you got a colors, I got a color. I don't give a damn what you got in there. I just want to race. But now, you know, you got people want to go study videos. People want to, some cases, race block. You know, stop a race. You got, I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. But like in my opinion, I think that's where it's just people want to win more than just race. Right, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, they just want to win, have that W, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus just race and forget how it turned out, you know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That makes sense. When it comes to just racing, I know you said your grandma, she inspired you a lot. But when it comes to like just racing, who inspired you the most in the racing community?
Man, honestly,
it can be more than one person too.
I can't put one person. Like, I mean, if I'm being 100% transparent, 100% honest, it's like I get inspired by everybody. Right. You know, I take from every person. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I watch, like, you know, one person might not talk as much, but you know, they on go. Like, they motivated no matter how many times they lose, they on go. Another person, they might talk too much, but they might bag it up. You know what I'm saying? Then you got one person might not say nothing or might not do nothing, but they gonna come to the track and they gonna try and do what they can do. You know, so me personally, I take a little bit from everybody. You know, I just sit back and watch and just, you know, take a little bit from everybody.
Makes sense. Okay. Alright, so this could be like an off the record question too. What's one mistake that you made in your racing career? We're gonna break it into two parts. We're gonna break it into two parts. Your racing career and your personal life.
Right.
that you made and you regret to this day? We're gonna start with racing. Your racing.
So racing.
Yeah.
Man, I think the worst thing I've done in racing that I have learned my lesson from was just buying stuff because it's a good deal. Like thinking, hey man, it's a good deal. I need to get it and get it, because now racing done evolved so much. You buy something today, it's gonna be outdated next week. So now you behind and you stuck with it. And you go to sell it, you can't get what you paid for it because it's old.
Exactly.
So I think with racing, one thing I can say I stopped doing is pretty much buying stuff just because it's a good deal.
Okay.
You know, just like it might be $1,000 in the store and somebody got it, you know, for $500. They used it one time, bought it for $500.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not necessarily saying it ain't a bad deal, but it's a bad deal if you not finna use it right now.
Right.
See, I buy stuff, oh, it's a good deal, and then let it sit up for a year or two, and then that it ain't, you know, because something new done came out.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah.
So
you gotta be up to date with everything.
Yeah, you gotta
man.
stay up to date. So
especially
I mean,
with technology.
with me, I would say if I buy something, I need to be ready to use it. You know, right then and there.
Yeah.
Right.
What about in your personal life that you that not necessarily you regret, you just wish you would have did different? I'll put it like that.
Man, it's crazy because personally, I did everything I kind of, you know, wanted to do. I was real particular about how I moved. Like me and my wife, for example, we didn't have our first child till we both were finished college. We agreed on that. So, you know, some people say, oh, I waited to have children. So I had my children a little late. We don't regret that. I think more or less, it's going to revert back to racing a little bit, but
Right.
I think making my mind up if I wanted to race or if I wanted to have a show car.
Okay.
And when I say that, it's for like, because I was trying to do both, you know, and I was like, I fixed my car up, spent a lot of money on doing it for the show, and then turn around, take everything out and set it up for racing. So making up my mind here or there, if I wanted to, you know, have a show car or have a race car.
Okay. So did you let me go back a little bit. You finish college? You finished college? What did you go to school for?
Got my bachelor's degree.
And in what?
I got it in so it's like a technical degree for people who's in a it's basically an occupational degree.
Oh, okay.
So like, you know, they don't have a 4-year degree for mechanics.
Right.
So they have a degree where it specializes in your field of study. So I was in class with, you know, computer technicians, veterinarians, anything that led from a 2-year degree gives you the opportunity to get your bachelor's. So they teach you, you know, the business management courses. They teach you all those kind of things to apply to your field of study.
Right.
You know, so some people that I studied with was in computer technology. You know, some people that I studied with was in real estate. You know, some people I studied with, I mean, you name it, was a broad horizon, but that degree was all your business management courses, your technology courses, and different courses to allow you to have a bachelor's degree applied in your field.
They just different. They give you different classes.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. So just like in your case, photography and video.
Yeah.
You know, once you know, finished your 2 years and your associate's degree,
yeah,
you could move over and take this, and then you have your bachelor's. You know.
I ain't even think about that.
Because it's all the same classes as, you know, your maths, I say maths, your college Englishes, college, you know, so forth and so forth.
Yeah. What was your worst subject?
Exactly.
What's your worst subject? What was your worst subject?
Man, believe it or not, I'm mad. Man, boy, I struggled in math, man. I mean, I still made good grades.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, actually, believe it or not, when I was in high school, I made high B, low A. When I got to college, I was on the A honor roll. But I think, you know, and I was like, I thought it was gonna be hard, you know. But I think it's at that point you want to be there. some people. I know some people go to college to party, but like at that point, paying that money, I wanted to be there, so I'm gonna do right. But my man always been my little kicker. Like I love English. I used to think I was gonna get in trouble in speech, but I love speech. The only thing with speech, and everybody know I'm long-winded. So whenever we had the speech where they said you gotta concentrate on your time frame, and we had to do a speech in 10 minutes, I got point took out because I went 15, 20 minutes over. But I take that any day. You know? Yeah. I take that any day.
It's better to go over than under.
Exactly.
So yeah. Well, okay then.
And then everybody know me, I'm long-winded, so that just like shout out to my partners on the Zello app. We got a little walkie-talkie app. Yeah. So it's like if I get on the buttons, you might well just set your phone down, cause I'm, you know.
Hey, all right. So the main question I gotta ask you, man, how did Hood to Hood racing start? How did it come about? Man. Give me the history on it, man.
So it was, I'll never forget. It was November the 11th, 2013. I was at work. I was actually working in Fort Worth at the time, a fleet mechanic at Pepsi in Fort Worth. Okay. And you know, during my lunch break, I was talking to my partner. I was talking to Brother. I was like, "Hey man, hey bro, we need to start a group for the smile guys." He was like, "Well, what you mean?" I was like, "You know, we need to start a group for us, bro. You know, like the Punisher, which is his Monte Carlo, his name, my car, just." You know, like a little forum where we can call out each other, have fun. Because, you know, they already had groups and stuff for the bigger guys, but, you know, we needed something for us. And he was like, and I think that's a good idea. So I was like, shit, I need to come up with a name. And I was like, what you think about Hood to Hood racing? He was like, then no. So, you know, my deal, I was like, well, metaphorically, it is two cars, hood versus what's under your hood racing. I said, so I can get away with that if I think about it. I said, but then in layman terms, you know, we are from the hood. He was like, yeah. He said, man, but I don't know, man, that name might scare people away. I said, yeah, you got a point. So I said, well, let me come up with something. So I was like, nah, man, forget it. Like, we gonna ride with it. Like, you know, I mean, it is from here. You from Oak Cliff, I'm from Oak Cliff. We the creators, so we gonna call it Hood to Hood Racing. And, I mean, wherever it go, it go. So that was the start of it. And I mean, we literally created that's when Facebook groups first started. We created a Facebook group, and then we just went from there. 2 people in it, me and him. And then we added our partners, and we were like, hey, from now on, you know, we gonna make call outs on here. We gonna record us racing, and man, it just went from 10 to 20 to 50 to 200 to 300, 1,000. Well, you know, it was 28,000 people, and them real people. Like, you know, I know some groups just got a public and just be adding people, but like it's real people. Like I actually go through there and add people. I had. You know, first, and I'm glad they come out with them questions because you get a lot of spammers. So I had to put questions on there like what track you race at, what, you know, events you go to, just so I know you're a real person. So to this day, I still go and screen and make sure it's real people in there. So I mean, we had 28,000 people now.
So it originally started off for the smaller, smaller group.
Yeah, okay. like regular, I mean, cars, like, you know, no. Just friends, like, you know, just say your camp versus another camp, you know. Just like, I think back then we actually had a rival with Quentin there, you know, Quentin and his cousin Buki and Dre. And then me and my partners, we raced them at Yellow Belly, you know, with our regular car, our semi-fast cars, and, you know, that's just how it started.
Okay. So did you ever expected it to be like you going from just having this call out list Hood to Hood to like throwing shows now, like the picnic?
Not in a million years, bro. Like, you know, most people, like I'll be honest, most people, they come out with business plans or trajectories of what they want in this time frame and that time frame, man. Never in a million years I think this group would this big. I mean, to this day, we going on what? Let's see, finna be 10 years and come up in November, and I still can't believe it. Like, I'm still in shock of how it's grown and continue to grow to this day.
So, so the hood to hood picnic. So how did that come about? Like,
so
yeah.
Now we touched on it earlier. So like basically, with me having a small family, like said, you know, my mom, my uncle, my granny. Honestly, I know my family. Like, you know, we had get-togethers, we go visit, but I've never had been to a family reunion like on my own. Never had one, never planned one, never been a part of one. So I come up with this idea like, man, you know, we got this close-knitted racing community and everybody know each other by Facebook, but, you know, some people don't know each other in person. So I'm like, man, what if we had like a reunion type of event once a year annually, you know, that we all get to come together and just race and have fun and do what we love for the weekend. I mean, it match, you know, you got Hood to Hood Racing, which is a group, community, family, or whatever you want to call it. And just like a family function, you know, people have family reunions. So I was like, hey, let's put the picnic together and make it like a big family reunion.
Okay. So, and this will be what annual?
So this 11th? One coming up is going to be the 9th.
The 9th. Okay.
Now, I know people like, well, dang, Hood been going 10 years, so what happened? So the first 2 years I tried to do one, it rained out. Like, I'm talking about literally 2 years in a row. I switched the dates up, I did all that, it rained. And it's actually started at Cedar Creek. Mr. Danny gave me the opportunity, you know, he passed away. Shout out to Mr. Danny, RIP. You know, he gave me the opportunity to do it there. And it rained out, like literally. I mean, I bought food, prepared food, and it rained. So them 2 years, he still let us up under the canopy area. Just, you know, like I said, I already had the food, just fellowship together and have the food. So 2 years in a row, I'm like, man, I got the worst luck when it comes to this. So after those 2 years, I actually skipped a year. I was like, you know, I ain't gonna do it at all.
Right.
Then I came back and, you know, somebody brought it back up. Was like, man, why don't we do it again? I was like, man, you got a point. So time was running out. People already had events on Saturdays. I said, man, let's shoot for a Sunday. So that Sunday we did it. I mean, it just took off. And it been up ever since from there.
Okay, and what can you say, what sets Picnic different from other events? And how did you come out, well, first off, how did you come up with the name Picnic?
So, I, you know, just brainstorming like Hood to Hood Racing Reunion. I'm saying racing. I'm like, I'm gonna have food because I work for Pepsi, so, you know, I shout out to Pepsi for the soda, you know. So I'm like, hey man, can't say family reunion. What's the closest thing to a family reunion? And I'm like, picnic. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's for all ages. It's for the kids. It's for the adults. You know, I'm like, there it is. And it just, I mean, it just stuck from there.
Okay. So, what sets the Hood to Hood Picnic different from other events? Like no stepping on toes now. Just,
right.
Just
so,
saying, what sets it different?
With the picnic, man, like I tell everybody, I feel like it's for everybody. Like, you know, like, yeah, some people have test and tune available and, you know, they can word it like that, but I feel like the picnic for everybody, like grudge racers, if you want grudge, I mean, if you know, want to do a shootout for all trucks, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, do a shoot, like Little Hitter shootout, that's actually another promoter's event. And, you know, they do one of their series at the picnic, you know, the Little Hitters, and that's Kenneth Williams, aka Big Sleepy, and Boogie, you know, Antonio Clark. And they every year have they like finale race at the picnic because a lot of people excited to come to it. But I try to make it for everybody. Long as I know ahead of time like what you're trying to do as far as the caliber of cars so we can line you up in the schedule. I mean, I try to make it for everybody. So I think that's what a lot of people like. It's not necessarily catered to all index or all bracket or all big time grudge racers, you know, the super fast car. But don't get me wrong, Eric and TJ now have the track ready for whatever, you know, to get down the track. But I make it for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
So how is, oh yeah, I want to touch on that. How is your relationship with Eric and TJ and all of them, and DeMarcus? I don't want to leave them out.
Excuse me. Man, like I say, shout out to Motorsports for giving me the opportunity to do my race though. You know, that was like life changing because, you know, a lot of people didn't really have grudge races and do grudge races at the Motorsports. So to be able to do my first grudge race there and to pretty much open the doors for a lot of grudge racers to, you know, go to the location, you know, it was good. But man, I mean, they make you feel at home, man. Like, you know, anything you need help with, they gonna help you with. You know, they gonna be there for you. You know, any question, concerns you got, you know, they gonna help you, you know, through the whole process. So, you know, shout out to them.
Okay. And one thing I noticed about you, when you not to step on anybody else's toes, but you actually be in the lanes, bringing the cars up.
Yeah. So man, like, people get on to me, man. Like, they like, man, you hosting an event, you supposed to chill, and I'm like, man, it's different with me, like, because I feel like I know everybody, you know, to a certain extent. I mean, I don't know every single person come through the gate, but majority I know. So I just feel like sometimes, you know, with racing, you competitive sport, drilling, get the rushing. I feel like sometimes some people take instruction better from people they know versus people they don't know. So, you know, I take it upon myself to kind of, you know, be there to interact with everybody. And, you know, just in case some stuff happen, I'm there to smooth things over. You know. But I actually last year got fired. You know, Eric them and DeMarcus fired me from my job of running the staging lane last year. I still snuck back there and did a little bit, but you know, they told me to actually calm down this year, so I had to, you know, stand back.
Oh man, yeah, they good people, man.
Yeah,
they real good people. Man, I had another question to ask you about the picnic. Oh, y'all got a date for 2023?
Yeah, so it's the 21st through the 23rd of this year. Basically, I keep it in the same week of September. So normally, what's that? That's the fourth week in September. Well, fourth weekend in September. So it's always gonna be around that same date. I mean, weather-wise, I've been blessed to have great weather during that time. Temperature been good. I had a few that's been like 100 degrees, but you know, I mean, this Texas, so we got to work with what we get. But you know, so it's always gonna be around that fourth weekend of September.
Okay.
So this year it falls on the 21st through the 23rd, and the reason it's 3 days because Thursday I like to get the opportunity to private test, you know, get things lined out because come Friday and Saturday, man, it's going nonstop. You know?
Okay. And y'all have like so that touch on that. So that Thursday is like private testing and everything.
Right.
I didn't make it. I made it that Friday and Saturday, but I was late because I had work.
Right.
That Saturday, what do y'all do? Don't y'all do something special like that Saturday?
Yeah, so that's when I wouldn't say special. It's part of the event.
Yeah. That's what.
Free food. So you know the food. We kind of tried to schedule it around like 3 to 6, I believe, or sometimes 3 to 6. I would say 3 to 5, but I stretch it out to like 3 to 6. Give everybody time to go grab a bite to eat. You know, kick back and relax. My high school buddy, Chris Turman, CT Meal Prep, he's the one that does the food for us. So, you know, we pretty much have chopped beef sandwiches, hamburgers, you know. This night, something to give back just to put in your stomach. It's free, you know, while food lasts. Get the bounce house for the kids. We have that in the track area. Got DJ Carl, you know, he, you know, does the DJing for us. So that's pretty much, like I say, picnic, you know, some little kids can play in the bounce houses, the parents can race and, you know, do what they do, and, you know, we just pretty much kick it for the weekend.
Okay, then, man. Man, I appreciate you for giving me that information, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the 4th weekend in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 21st and 23rd,
Right.
with the Hood Picnic. This would be the 9th annual or the
Yeah, this
9th
the
annual?
9th, right.
Okay,
Right.
boom. All right, now let's transition, man. All right, so we all know Q, aka Lookout Racing, passed away last year, 2022. What was y'all relationship like? I know he's from Texas, you from Texas, and I know. What was y'all relationship like? Did you have like a relationship with him?
Yeah. I mean, me and Q, man, we were straight. Like, we were tight, man. So me and my partners kind of know Q before Lookout, like when we were grudge racing. I mean, he's still grudge racing, but before the Lookout day, he was actually our rival. So, you know, him and Berto, man, they used to go, like we used to go at it weekend after weekend after weekend, you know, it was Q, his little cousin Bookie, you know, they partner Dre, Mon, I mean, we name all of them, like, I mean, you knew pretty much, if our cars was together, we were doing some racing against each other, you know. Okay, then. But it was good, man, like I say, you know, man, he was inspiration to a lot of us. I mean, because especially if you knew Q, he was an inspiration to a lot of, especially if you knew where Q come from. I mean, you know, he always had that weirdy spirit, like, you know, he could brighten up your day. He go come, one thing about him, he go say something crazy. He always have done that, even when we were racing, you know. So, but you know, he was just that person that you know brought joy to you. You know, it was never a dull moment with him. Even with him being your opponent, man, it was like with him it was never a dull moment. You know.
Okay. Did y'all ever? So I know you said y'all had a rivalry. Who won the most between all of y'all?
Man,
or was it? Be honest now. Don't be stuck.
Let me think, man, because I'm talking about. I gotta go back on YouTube, but man, we raced. We had the same car. With Berto had the same Monte Carlo, but we raced Q with he had an S10, he had a Camaro, he had him a white Caprice. I don't think we raced him in the Caprice. Man, I'm trying to think, did we beat him? We went neck to neck. I think we did. I'd be lying if I say for sure. I'm gonna have to go back and watch YouTube, but I think we got him. I think we beat with, or we was like 1-1. So. Yeah. Cause I know we were supposed to race one car and it didn't go for whatever reason. But I know we raced the truck, we raced this Camaro. But I gotta see who really won. To be true, I gotta go back and look. Okay. I don't even want to lie on camera.
Yeah. All right, so last question, man. I'm gonna let you get up out of here. I'm gonna let you be. What was a changing point in your life journey that made you who you are today?
Man, I think probably growing up. I say that transition from, I guess, my teenage years to my what they call young adult years, that 12 to 16-year range. Just, you know, watching my granny give all to her daughter, which was my mom, you know, during that time when she needed her, man. And, you know, like I said earlier, it kind of changed my perspective as role models, you know, just that, you know, instead of having a celebrity or musician, it was my grandmother, man, because I watched her, you know, not only raise a teenage boy, but then take care of, you know, her child in need and just pour out that motherly love, man. So, you know, I think at that point, just teaching myself how to be responsible, not get in trouble, not do certain things, because I know, you know what I'm saying, my granny already got enough on her plate. And just making them, you know, big boy decisions at times, you know.
Well, man, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you for being our first guest on the Deeper the Racing segment, man. Any final words that you want to say?
Yeah, man, just, you know, shout out to my city, you know, Dallas, Texas, you know, Hood to Hood Racing, you know, all the people that rock with me, you know, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for all the support. You know, without you all, there's no me, you know, without y'all, there is no Hood to Hood Racing. So, you know, thank y'all for the continued support. I mean, we gonna keep it coming, you know. Like I said, at the end of the day, This for us Texas races is something for us, you know. Shout out to, you know, my man Coach, all my buddies, you know. Damn. Like, shout out to everybody, man. Hood to Hood Racing family. You know, we represent the city. We represent Texas, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Motorplex for, you know, allowing me to have my event there. Coach for all the help. You know, my brother Mikey Hollis. You know, my team. You know, the BTB boys. My wife. All my friends, family. You know, just everybody who support me and rock with me, man. Thank y'all. You know, can't say it no better than that. Thank y'all. And then my boy Forever Grudge for, you know, for even having me on, you know, like say, I just appreciate everything he do, media-wise, bringing exposure to all of us here, man, you know.
All right, we appreciate your time, man. We look forward to having you back on here, man.
All right, yes, sir.